The moment she tried to ask about the car, the salesman's expression shifted from forced politeness to open annoyance, as if her presence alone was an inconvenience. His tone dripped with condescension when he emphasized the price, clearly expecting her to back away in embarrassment. Instead of listening to her, he cut her off, laughed under his breath, and even exchanged smug looks with another employee across the room. When she tried again to explain that she was serious about buying a vehicle, the manager stepped in, but not to help. With the same cold, dismissive eyes, she scanned the woman's clothes and decided she wasn't worth their time. She said they were busy with actual buyers, making sure everyone around could hear. It wasn't just disrespect, it was humiliation delivered publicly, as if they wanted her to feel small before pushing her out the door. She walked into the dealership that afternoon without giving her outfit a second thought. Her brown jacket was old but comfortable, her jeans were faded from years of use, and her sneakers were the same pair she wore for gardening earlier that day. To her, clothes were never a measure of worth. But the moment she stepped through those gleaming glass doors, she felt the shift in the room. The polished showroom, the luxury cars, the sharply dressed customers, none of that bothered her. What stung was the way the staff's eyes scanned her from head to toe, not with curiosity, but with quiet judgment. They didn't see a potential buyer. They didn't see a mother planning to surprise her children. They didn't see a hard-working woman ready to make one of the biggest purchases of her life. They only saw worn fabric and assumed she didn't belong here. And that assumption changed everything. Once the tension settled, the owner turned back to her with a sincerity that softened the heaviness in the room. He apologized, not as a businessman protecting his brand, but as a human being recognizing the pain she had just endured. He offered to personally take her to another branch, one where the staff treated every visitor with genuine respect, and she accepted, still shaken but grateful to finally be seen. At the new dealership, the difference was immediate. Every employee greeted her with kindness, not because they knew who she was or how much she could spend, but because that was simply how they treated people. By the end of the day, she had purchased all 3 cars she had planned for, turning a humiliating experience into an empowering one. And as she drove away, she carried with her a reminder no one should ever forget: respect should never depend on appearance. The owner's voice remained calm, but there was no mistaking the disappointment behind it as he explained that he had witnessed every insult, every smirk, every moment they had treated her as if she were invisible. He didn't raise his voice, he didn't need to. The weight of his words was enough to make the staff shrink where they stood. When he revealed that he had been visiting anonymously to see how customers were treated, the salesman and manager suddenly understood the magnitude of their mistake. Their excuses stumbled out in weak whispers, but he wasn't interested in justifications. With a final, firm decision, he fired them both on the spot, leaving no room for negotiation. The room fell into an uneasy silence, employees staring at the floor, customers pretending not to listen. It was the kind of justice that didn't require shouting, only clarity. And clarity hit them harder than anything else could. Just when it felt like the situation couldn't get any worse, a single voice cut through the noise like a blade. It wasn't loud, but it carried a power that instantly silenced the room. Everyone turned to look at the man who had been sitting quietly in the waiting area, someone they had barely noticed until now. He wasn't dressed in fancy clothes or trying to draw attention to himself, yet the moment he stood, the entire atmosphere shifted. He walked toward her with calm, steady steps, his expression a mix of disappointment and controlled anger. The manager tried to dismiss him, assuming he was just another customer, but he ignored her completely. When he introduced himself as the owner of the entire dealership chain, the color drained from their faces. In that moment, the truth finally surfaced, and the power dynamic flipped in an instant. As more customers and employees turned to watch, the atmosphere grew heavier, almost suffocating. She tried to keep her voice steady, insisting she had come prepared to buy a car, but every word she spoke only seemed to fuel their mockery. The manager folded her arms, tilted her head, and challenged her to prove she had the money, as if dignity was something she had to earn on command. Laughter rippled through the showroom, sharp, cold, and cruel. Even the security guard was called over, ready to escort her out as though she were causing trouble instead of simply trying to shop. Her cheeks burned, her eyes stung, and for a moment she wondered how something as simple as wanting to buy a car had turned into a public spectacle. Surrounded by strangers who had already decided her worth, she felt the humiliation reach its peak.